y'all. Welcome to the Godly Vibes and Blessings podcast. This is Quante Reid, your host, and we're back with another episode. And obviously, it's going to be something that's going to help y'all in your purpose. And today, we're going to be talking about how God has given me 5 ways to pursue purpose. And it kind of like flowed a little bit in the last podcast, and I was like trying to hold it because it was more to the little things I was saying in that podcast, but I'm able to do it now. So let's get into it. So I have 5 ways to pursue purpose, and they're not in any particular order, by the way. I'm just gonna go how I wrote them down. So we're gonna start off with practice. So we all know that a lot of times our gifts are tied to our purpose in a way, and you may be a multi-talented person, and you may have lots of gifts that God has blessed you with, but he may not use all of them. He may use a particular one to basically for your purpose, right? And so you have to find the time to actually practice that actual purpose that you're trying to pursue, and that's going to take skill set, and that skill set is going to basically be you taking the time to actually put time into it and to pursue it through consistency. And sometimes we may think, oh, I know how to do this, so why do I have to practice? Because you may be a taker, or you may be a person that gets it on the first get it on the first try, and you may feel like, okay, so why do I have to practice doing something that I'm gifted in, that I am really good at? Well, it's just what you got to do, because think about it. Basketball players, LeBron and different people that are very talented, they had to practice, they had to put in the time in the gym. They had to put in the time and learn their form in order to actually be the basketball player or the actor that they are now. You know what I'm saying? So you have to actually put in that time to do that. The second thing I have is collaboration. So with collaboration, it kind of can be I was gonna say that, but it's not really that. Okay. So with collaboration, basically you're working with like-minded people, people that they may not be doing the actual same thing that you're doing, but their mindset to do what they're called to do or do what they're doing. You guys are basically helping each other in that. You're encouraging one another, you are praying for one another, you are basically connecting through divine connections. That these divine connections are the connections sent by God, that they're happening, like the networking. Like you may, let's say you went in a store, and the cashier was bringing up people before you, and the person behind you, you may start having a conversation with, and come to find out that they are someone that's actually in that particular on that particular platform that you're working on or you're pursuing through your purpose. And they may have an opportunity for you, so you like, oh, okay, so I was actually getting ready to look into that, and here they are with that actual thing for you to actually participate in. It may be a class, or it may have I seen someone on TikTok. I was watching TikTok. I was on TikTok, and this particular guy, I think he was into music or something like that, and he said he had just recently moved to a new city or a state, and he didn't know anybody there. And he just so happened to go to the store that day, and he started talking to this young man in the store, and come to find out, this particular man, his business, basically he rebuilds computers or something like that. I think it was like computers or laptops, and he was looking for a hardware computer, like a Mac, I believe, to do his music on. And the guy was like, hey, I got you, like, you don't have to pay for it, I got you. Like, that's an opportunity that happened only because he was in the store and end up having a conversation with a like-minded person. Now, not every person you might have a conversation with in that particular area or place or whatever, it may be the person that you may um, take something from or receive something from, but you may give something to them. You might give them something, idea, or you may give them the motivation that's needed for them to activate their purpose as well. And that's just a whole nother thing. So, make sure you are surrounding yourself with like-minded people. Make sure you're surrounding yourself around people that are positive. There are people who are pursuing their purpose as well, and that they actually are giving it a try. This is not a perfection thing. So, long as you guys are motivating each other and pushing one another, then you have no choice but to reach your goal if you have that particular audience around you. Or um I would say I'm saying audience because you guys are my audience, and I feel like we may not know each other like in person, but I feel like you guys motivate me um to do what I do. So yeah, make sure you're having that moment. And God will literally take over once you start activating that like mindedness. You never know who He may place in a room with you, or make sit you by on a bus or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so many ways and opportunities that will come to you once you start pursuing your purpose. Um, Speaking of, okay. So the third one I have is education. Educate yourself in the areas you lack knowledge concerning your gifts or your talents. So for me, I would say I had to do the same thing. I started doing research about podcasts and what you need to set it up, or how long podcast episodes are for each audience, but that all depends on your audience. Everybody audience is not the same. So you have to basically build that by researching and actually paying attention to um paying attention to your numbers and whatnot. I don't get caught up in that. Like, I don't get caught up in the likes and things like that, because I have to have faith in a way where I have to have. I'm sorry, I was reading something. My producer's talking to me. I have to basically take that time to actually pay attention to those numbers. In the beginning, I felt like I did that mostly in the beginning, so I could see, okay, this is the average time people are listening to the podcast. Nowadays, I just be talking and get out whatever God got for me to say, and I just don't worry about it, because you don't want to get caught up in numbers too much and you be discouraged based off, oh, these people are not listening to me, or I feel like I'm not doing this for anybody. You know what I'm saying? So when you're looking at the numbers and analytics, do not get caught up in them. Review them, use them, but do not get caught up in the numbers and how many people are looking at your stuff or don't. If you're a person that have a high quality, how you have high quality information that you're feeding your audience and you're not getting the results back to you, that doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. It's just mean that they're either, you just got to pray and just believe that what you're giving them is helping them. And it's gonna be a time and a place for when it comes to where that stuff may matter, or it may come to a point where you actually able to use that for your advantage, like sponsorships and different things like that. But that time will come when it's time. Like, for the meantime, that's what I'm doing. Like, I may not have all the followers, but I love all, however many of you guys that is. And I try to make sure that I always keep that in my mind, that I'm giving you the best Quante I can give you, and also making sure that my heart is open to receive whatever God has for me to tell you guys, because I don't want to be up here just talking and not making sense, or what I'm talking about is not something He wants me to say right now. You know what I'm saying? So I have to do the same thing in that area. Um, Another thing I would say with educating yourself is, excuse me, is actually taking the time to watch videos, YouTube, whatever you have to do to educate yourself. Take classes. They have so many free classes. Like Skillshare has classes on there. Like I said, YouTube tutorials could be found anywhere, literally. Like, you could type it in on TikTok, like Pinterest. There's so many places you can look at to grab information from. You also have in-person events and different things you can go to. They have classes and webinars and conferences and different things concerning whatever that purpose is. You may be having to do acting as your purpose. Like, you may be trying to get into that role of writing. Well, for you, you have to continue to open your mind to be able to actually put yourself in those rooms to learn that information and to network. That's where your divine connection may happen as well, when you go into events and different things like that. So yeah, I feel like that's something very important. It's really essential in order to push yourself past the limit of what you know, based off what you're passionate about, based off how good you are in it. It's pushing you to learn more, because there's always room for more. I have painted so many times with acrylic paint. I can paint probably with my eyes closed. It may not be the prettiest thing, but I know how that paint flows basically on the canvas. And recently tried to open up some oil painting, and that's not my thing. I've never done it before. But me saying it's not my thing and saying, oh, I only do oil painting would limit me to be able to learn that. So I'm buying the tools that's needed. Okay, let me do some research. Why is this paint so thick? And why does it take so long to dry? Like, so I'm not used to that. So I had to start researching. I started looking. When it frustrated me, I washed my brushes, and even then, I was like, "Why my brushes not coming clean?" It's because I didn't have. I learned that I didn't have water based oil painting. I had just a regular one, so I needed turpentine and all that type of stuff, right? So I had to learn that based off research. I had to learn that based off experience and practicing to see, okay, this paint goes this way. Let me learn how this dance. Like, let me learn how to dance with this. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a flow type person when it comes to painting. So me learning how to use different mediums is something I always enjoy doing, because it's like another way to express yourself and to basically give you different textures and different things like that. And so I have tried watercolor this past year and a half, and I actually didn't I tried it before in the past and I didn't like it, and I felt like I couldn't do it. And so me trying it again, now I have pieces that I created from me looking at videos or practicing. Now I have pieces on my art wall that I actually love. You know what I'm saying? So don't give up on those things when it comes to you pushing yourself and your talents and your gifts. Like, keep trying, just keep pushing. You know, you got this. You got this. Um, thank you. Okay, so the fourth one is faith. And you know we're big on faith. I have my shirt on that I didn't realize I was gonna have on, but I do. It says faith can move mountains. So in this area, you gotta have your faith. You gotta have faith to move that mountain in your head. That block is just telling you that you can't do this, or that block is just telling you you got to have a certain amount of years in the game to do whatever you're trying to do. Like, some people get caught up in that, and I was like that. I was like, I wasn't really focusing on it to that extent. I was like, oh, it'll happen one day, and I was willing to wait on that one day. But just because we haven't put in the time doesn't mean we haven't put in the work, if that makes sense. Like, our way of investing in time matters. God is in control of time. So if he wants you to have whatever he's trying to get you to have or experience tomorrow, he can do that, compared to someone that had to that got it in 5 years or 10 years. Like, we can't beat ourselves up because of that. Now, if people are taking from other people's information and they're not giving them credit, they're not they're taking it and using and stealing it, that's different. Like, you shouldn't do that. I'm not telling you to do that at all. But whatever God is giving you and you created it. Y'all know the word thing happening right now. I'm like, is that how that sounds? But you know what I'm trying to say. Like, once you go through that, like, are you producing like it? Are you producing it basically? Like, is it original? You can feed off people's ideas and make it your own. And this doesn't mean that you should think, oh, this person already got a podcast, I shouldn't podcast. Oh, this person already I don't know, trying to be an influencer on these social media platforms, I can't do that. They're supporting this particular brand. I can't. I love this brand. Let me not do that, because I don't have enough followers, so people are not probably going to watch my video. Um, Even though I'm not a sponsor in this, but I'm using it. You know what I'm saying? Like, those type of thoughts come in our heads whenever we're trying to reach out and branch out in areas that we're not familiar with. Like, you start thinking about stuff that you probably would have never thought about if you was just creating it or doing it just to be doing it. You know what I'm saying? So whenever God called you to do it on a different level, we have to know that these type of thoughts may come our way, that we have to know that we, like I said in the last podcast, we have everything we need. God has blessed your hands. He's blessed your mind. He's blessed your way to see and imagine and create ideas and things. And he knows what you are capable of. You have to understand what you're capable of doing as well. You know what I'm saying? So do not get caught up in others people versions of whatever God called them to do or whatever they're doing. If we do that, then that's what's going to have you confused, blinded, because you assuming that's supposed to happen a certain way. It's going to have you doubting your way that he told you to do it. And it's going to not help you motivate yourself to actually get through the process and the humps that may come your way. Because you may have some, but you have the ability to get through them and get over them and move them out your way. So yeah. Um so yeah, like I said, having an open mind. I'm still number 4. Having an open mind, this means you got to have boldness. You have to have boldness to go into that class, that webinar, or that conference, and even if you have to go by yourself, like, be confident in yourself to do that. Be confident in yourself to answer questions. If you ask questions, ask questions. If you have questions, don't be afraid to ask. That's the whole point of you going. Like, you're not going to just, like, you're not going to waste your time or your money if you had to pay for it. Like, you going to learn something. Go ask questions. Um, Something I'm trying to do with communicating. Like, you have to be open to communicating. That takes boldness sometimes. Even if it's something you simply saying how this inspired you. And for me, I don't mind telling someone that. But when it comes to social media, I can comment that on someone's thing, but I'm more a personal person, so I'd rather just message you and tell you that I loved your work and this XYZ helped me. You know what I'm saying? I like to reach out in that way and be more personal. Like, I reached out to someone who was doing a podcast a couple years ago, and I just sent him a video. I was talking, I was just, had my phone up, and I was like, oh, I used to do this, but I really felt led to let you know how this moved me and how this helped me and yada yada yada, right? They sent me a whole voice note back. I think I did a voice note. Yeah, I did a video. I did a voice note. And I wasn't expecting it. I thought it was just gonna heart it or, say thank you, like, whatever you would say to someone. But they really basically told me how it made them feel based on what I said to them. So you never know, like, what would happen whenever you actually be bold to learn, be bold to reach out to people, be bold to connect and have a community or like-minded people surrounding you, or if you're following like-minded people that you can reach out to and tell them that you are inspired by them. You never know, they may want to do a collab with you. I feel like it'd be pretty cool for someone to do a collab with someone who's learning compared to someone who's already doing it, to see what they come up with. I don't know, I thought it'd be cool. So speaking of this, because I was just about to get off this and going to number 5, but I got to tell y'all something that I was listening to, or watching rather, and listening to this podcast. I'm sure, well, you may may or may not know this. Tim Ross, he has a podcast, and this particular podcast he was it was with Pastor Charles, and what was it called? The Basement. His podcast is called The Basement. And so I was listening to it, and I felt like it was God, because I am a creator. Like I said, I'm artsy, I'm creative, and I paint and do different things like arts and crafts and all those type of things, right? So Pastor Charles was talking about how um these, like, how creators are affected by different things, and how I feel like, he was basically saying, like, the enemy tries to stop people from doing this, and how they may have obviously their own strongholds and generational curses they may be facing, and obviously, because we all do have some, they may be facing, but something about the creators that he really come at, or they really battle hard with things, mentally or physically and whatnot, like that, right? So he was talking about how um Michelangelo, I believe, he was talking about how when he was painting the ceiling, that the paint was dripping into his eyes, and that's how, when he was painting that big old, beautiful masterpiece, he got paint in his eyes, and it made him blind. Well, I was like, okay, this kind of about to flow into number 5, which is rest. And I was thinking, like, if he would have took a moment, I'm just thinking, like, out loud, like, if he would have had that moment to stop and slow down and to rest, would he have thought about a way to either, I don't know if they had glasses back then. I feel like they did, and they had something, like, he could have. I wonder if it's something he could have used to cover his eyes up to stop that paint from dripping in his eyes, to stop him from becoming blind. And what I mean by this is, sometimes we push ourselves. Well, what he was also saying, from what I took from it, these are not word from word, y'all. By the way, you got to go watch it yourself. Basically what I took from that was sometimes as creators, we push ourselves past the limit to the point where we burn out. God don't want us to burn out in our purpose. He don't want us to burn out in our ability to create. And so I thought about how it's not just about resting, like your mental health and all that ties in too, as your self-care and how you take care of your body, and all those things matter. And it's like our minds are growing so fast with ideas and just overwhelmed. Sometimes people are trying to get that out, and that's really hard. And so I think about how, like, different artists have had these places where they were battling something so much bigger than them, that I feel like if they had the relationship with God, they could have got, through it differently based off him telling them to rest. You know what I'm saying? Or them, if he did tell him that, did they take the opportunity to do that? Or did they stop doing the drugs? Or did they take them, you know what I'm saying? All those things that has killed so many different creators. Like Van Gogh, he cut his ear. Like he cut his ear off. Like I was thinking, like, was it someone, like, not someone, but like, what, I know why he did it. Like he had some mental issues. But outside of that, like, I just think about it deeper. Like, was it someone, like the enemy is someone, I'm trying to say. Was he saying things in his ear and it made him cut his ear? Like getting in his head and distracting him? I was just be thinking like that. That's just me thinking about stuff, right? So how many times did that happen to us? Like we push ourselves past the limit where we're breaking when it's like when we hit our peak. Like I don't want to break when I hit my peak with this. I don't want to break when I hit my peak in my purpose. And so you have to make sure you are implementing rest in your schedule. Whether it's you taking a moment to put your phone on silence and you taking a nap, or you just watching TV, like not something crazy, something that's gonna help you, or either something that's relaxing. Self-care, making sure like you doing like your facials, or you might paint your nails, go out and do it, or you may do it at home, or do a foot bath. Like, are you going to go get massages? Like, what ways are you implementing rest? Are you going to walk on the beach? Like, it's so many things you could do to do that. So we have to make sure we're doing it, because we were just having this conversation, me and my roommates. So we were having this conversation about how we don't want to be working so hard that, like, everything passes by. You know what I'm saying? And we get caught up in the cycle of working, because that's what we were taught. That's what our people were taught, to work, 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 work. No, I'm not gonna do that, y'all. So yeah, like, we were taught that, and so it's nothing wrong with working, but how are you, like, are you resting? Are you maintaining your mindset? Are you maintaining your mental health? Like, those things all are tied together, and they help us stay in alignment. And you have to do this. You have to rest so your mind can be right, your spirit, and your physical body, right? So what ways are you actually putting those things into your routine? So we have to make sure we're doing that. And I know for me, I have to pick a day out the week that I'm resting, and I have to pick out a day out the week that I'm having fun. Because we were just talking about this earlier. Like, I haven't been on vacation like that, but you ever been on vacation and you were so excited to do all the activities, and you came back home tired? Like, that's like the worst feeling ever. Like, oh. So are you actually having fun and resting? Because I feel like you should have fun and have joy and enjoy life and different things, right? And for me, I know for a fact the enemy battles and fights me with my joy. And I don't always understand why I don't have it. And then I have to come to the conclusion, like, oh my gosh, like, it's the enemy. He's messing with my mind. Like, he's trying to stop me from enjoying certain things, and actually, like, I'm supposed to be enjoying this moment, but I'm worried about something else, or I'm just not embracing that moment or being present enough to have joy. Like, I have to, that's one of the things I battle. So I have to continue to fight that by laughing a little, listen to some music, dancing, because I love to dance, like play around or whatever and goof off or whatever. So for me, I have to play some music while I'm getting ready for the podcast. Like, I have to get in a whole nother, I have to get in the whole zone, start dancing, start moving, start doing something. to help me. And for you, that may be different. You may like to sing or skateboard. I don't know why I said that. My sister likes, she used to skateboard. I'd be trying to get her to get back. Like, do what you like to do. I know she's just a high school student, but even for y'all who are just in school, like, what things you used to do that you used to like to do that you brought you joy? I know the world could be like chaotic and has a lot of things going on, and we all have our own things going on in our lives. Like, are you taking the time to do those things? Or if you an adult, I say adult, like I'm an adult, but you know, adult, they are parents and people who work all the time. Like, are you taking the time to do something that you used to love? Like, if you like to play dominoes, I don't know, what's something, feed the birds in the park. I don't know. Like, are you doing that? Are you taking the time to do that? Even if you do it once a month, like, or once a week or something, like going to events, going to the movies, taking yourself out on dates. Like, I think you should do that. And I feel like sometimes people be like, oh, my spouse don't want to go. If you're married, I ain't married or anything like that. Nor do I have a spouse or anything close to that. But I do know if I wanted to do something, you don't always have to wait on that person to do it. Like, if you want to go, yes, I think I do feel like going into whenever I do have a relationship, I do want to do things with my significant other that I enjoy to do and that what he enjoys to do. And it may be times where we might have to solo date. I don't even know if this is accurate because like I said, I'm not sure. But for me thinking, I feel like it's okay to do things separately. And what I mean by that is if you want to go somewhere and just because that person's not going with you that day or that weekend, they may have to work or something. Like, go do it still. If you want to get your nails done, go get your nails done. If you want to go to get a massage, go get a massage. If you want to go to the movies, go to the movies. Like, I feel like being in a relationship don't make you like tied down to not do anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, do not cheat. I'm not saying that because definitely I'm not a fan of that. I'm just saying, like, do something. Go enjoy your life, and encourage your significant other to do the same. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, this podcast was pretty short. I don't have much to say after this. Like, I can go back and review. I think that's what I'm gonna do. So, like I said, we had 5 ways to pursue purpose. Um, Number 1 was practice. Make sure you are practicing that skill or that gift that God has placed in you. If you're multi-talented, if he had that one gift he wants you to practice really hard on, make sure you prioritize what you're doing. I guess I can say this real quick too, because I don't think I mentioned this. So you might be a person that's a jill of all trade or a jack of all trades, and he's called you to do so many things and you have fun doing it. And everybody be like, oh, you should go make money doing that. Well, I was listening to this girl and she was like, why do I have to make money doing everything I'm talented in? And I'm one of those people, I'm talented in a lot of things and I can do a lot of things, but I don't have to make it a money thing or a business. I can just do it because I love to do it. So do those other things that you love to do just to do it, and do that thing that he's trying to get you to activate that purpose in you as something that you're actually practicing, like as a priority thing. Like, practice other things you want to, but make sure that main thing is up there. Second, way was collaboration. Make sure you're working with like-minded people and making sure that you are opening yourself up to divine connections and network and different things like that, and solutions, because solutions come through that too, collaborating. And that may be you just collaborate with God, you know. So number 3 is education. Educate yourself in areas you lack knowledge concerning your talents and your gifts. Be open to do that. Number 4 is be bold, have faith, be open-minded. Don't be afraid to reach out to people, to talk to them, to ask them for help, or to ask them how to do something. Now, if someone is like, oh, I can't tell you, then see if they have a class, offer a class, or you might can pray on it and say, Lord, help me in this, help me figure this out, give me strategic tools, notes, classes, or something, or send the person my way that's going to help me cultivate or activate this gift to the level I'm seeing and what level you're calling me to do it. So do that. And last but not least, rest. Make sure you're resting and having fun and just enjoying life and taking those moments to just smell the flowers and be present. And also, in this process, you can get and gain a lot of ideas and inspiration just through the simple things. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. You already know the motto: become lit and stay lit. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Only God leave vibes and blessings.